Here we go!
Risk of Rain 2 is a game all about moving. So in a game where movement is supreme, Sonic reigns king. Sonic's passive ability is called Momentum. Now, anyone familiar with physics should get the gist of this ability. If you go downhill, you go up to double speed. If you go uphill, you go a third of your speed. His primary skill is a 5-hit melee combo. The first 4 hits each do 200% damage, while the finisher deals 600%. If you're looking at an enemy outside of your attack range, they'll actually get a reticle around them. If you use your primary, it turns into the homing attack instead. This ability is Sonic's real bread and butter. It is his second most damaging attack, being the main way you're going to proc bans, and it allows you to zip between enemies. The homing attack is going to become your real primary, while the jab is just an afterthought. Now combine this with the fire and ice bands, throw on a crowbar, you have a great ability. Sonic has 2 secondary abilities. The first is the Sonic Boom, a ranged ability that fires 2 shockwaves that detonate on impact. Each shockwave deals 160% damage. Now, they're mostly used for chipping enemies when you're in their face, as it's best to homing attack them from afar instead. This allows you to get that nice crowbar damage. You start with 3 charges and you gain them all back when it recharges. Really, this move is best used as a break in midair, as it stops all of your momentum, which with a couple of speed items Sonic becomes uncontrollable, making this a very useful ability. Now, parry, his unlockable secondary ability. It leaves a lot to be desired here. You can hold for up to 2 seconds and it auto activates when getting hit. When it activates, you negate all damage, gain a 40% attack speed increase and 30% movement speed increase. This also reduces your skill cooldown by 3 seconds, which would be useful, except the only move that has a cooldown is his special ability. This cooldown reduction does not affect his parry, but I assume this is a bug and not intended. If it is, then that's just weird. Being able to negate damage on paper is great. However, you can simply move out of the way because you are 10 times faster than all of these enemies. So it's not really useful. Moving on, we have the utility skill, the Boost. Sonic is fast on his own without it, but sometimes you need to go faster. Now, the Boost is what really allows him to pick up the speed and survive the many threats of Risk of Rain. When using the Boost, it drains from the boost meter, and when it runs out, you can't boost again until it fully recharges. In general, this move gives you plus 50 armor, makes you automatically sprint, and you can use it in the air to do a dash. You also get a few iframes when you start it up. If you are at or above 90% health, you get a 65% speed increase, and you can tell because you are blue when boosting. If you are under that threshold, then it's only a 35% increase. This move really is the bread and butter for staying alive. You can boost jump to go great distances, use it in midair, use it to turn around in midair. A lot of very useful practicality here. This move also has a special interaction with the Ancient Sceptre mod, a separate mod that adds a legendary item, buffing certain moves for characters. If you pick this up as Sonic, it upgrades the boost in order to make it more of an attack, and this just lets you cannonball through enemies. If you're playing as Sonic, this item is a must-have. I very much recommend this item and the mod. Finally, we have his special skill, the Grand Slam, aptly named as this is the most damaging move Sonic has. This, the homing attack, and his jab 5 are the only moves that let you proc the bands, so best to choose wisely when you're breaking this one out. When you activate it, you rush towards the nearest enemy, and when you collide, you deal 5 hits of 140% damage before finishing off with a stomp that deals 2,200. It has a 12-second cooldown, so it's really only good for overloading enemies, golems, or any boss. You can also use this as a pseudo air dash, and it lets you go wherever you're aiming, so you can even use it to go upward. This and the homing attack are your main ways of dealing damage. As we move on to items, I'm going to talk about them going upwards in terms of rarity. So to start off with, we have white items. Sonic is a frail character with a not huge damage output, so it's important to start grabbing some crowbars to improve his already high single damage output. Focus Crystal, as you're generally staying inside of an enemy's face, the Shark Tooth to get some healing out of enemies. Sonic may be fast, but you can always stand to be a bit faster. You can get up to 5 energy drinks or goat hooves, doesn't matter which, but anything more than that becomes uncontrollable, so feel free to speed up at your own risk. Pick up as many Soldier Syringe or Mocha as you can, as when push comes to shove, late game you won't be one-shotting enemies as much, you will need to rely on your jab. For green items, a Wax Quill is great for capitalizing off of boost jumping for that extra movement. Bandolier is great for instantly resetting your special skill due to that long cooldown. Ukulele for taking out groups of enemies, as again, Sonic really is only single targets. Then an Infusion just to help increase that low base health. Some very standout green items are the Rose Buckler, as this item gives you plus 30 armor per stack while sprinting, which Sonic is sprinting all of the time. Not to mention you get plus 50 armor whilst boosting. This is a great item. The Red Whip is also amazing, as with too much speed Sonic becomes uncontrollable, bouncing off of any straight geometry. With this, you can control when you get speed and you can turn it off when you're going too fast. This makes getting around the stage a piece of cake. It is, however, best to avoid the Shuriken and Hunter's Harpoon. The Shuriken can interrupt your homing attack mid-flight and thus stops you from homing towards whatever enemy you might be wanting to go to. It makes it very easy to take some accidental deaths, getting caught in front of a golem or whatever else. The Hunter's Harpoon, as mentioned before with gaining too much speed, makes Sonic too uncontrollable when stacked with our other speed items. The yellow item, the Little Disciple, is amazing for Sonic. It fires tracking wisps as you sprint, which, again, you are always sprinting. This is a fantastic item. Free damage for moving around. How could you go wrong? He has a few unique interactions with legendary items, so I'll just point those out here. The Alien Head and Brainstalk reduce the amount your boost meter drains while boosting and give you increased regen. With enough of these, you can just have an infinite boost. The Hard Light Afterburner allows you to air boost up to 3 times before touching the ground. And these in general are very, very nice, giving you extra movement, but they aren't necessary, just something that could be fun. If you're looking for good red items in general, pick your poison, they're all very good. To close off our items, the best and most essential item for Sonic is the Wungus, a purple item. It heals 2% for every second sprinting, which doesn't sound like a lot, but once you start picking up more, it adds 2% each time, and you are always sprinting. Combine this with some Rose Bucklers and you are starting to look a bit more tanky. Overall, I don't think Sonic is a very powerful character, but he is very fun. With his high movement speed, he's able to weave in and out of combat, but you cannot stay and just face smash an enemy. They do not play like the Saiyans, they do not play like Loader, or really any other character. The best comparison to the base game I could make would be to Mercenary, where you are working very hard to achieve very little compared to other characters like Loader. With Grand Slam being your only source of AoE and having such a long cooldown, Sonic is a very item dependent character. With that being said, feel free to let me know if you disagree with any of these item choices, or maybe there's some other items that you would choose. Either way, I'll leave you with this boss fight against Mithrix, and thanks for watching.
It's like sci-fi meets fantasy. Now that looks nasty. Here's Sonic! Aw! Ah, this guy's tough! Eat this! Huh? Here comes the parade! Woo! Feeling good! Ah! Ah! Yeah! Woo! Go! Yeah! This one's all mine! Yeah! Let's go! Not a bad toy, but playtime's over, pal! You just can't get enough, huh? Ugh! Yeah! Oh! as ever, all bark and no bite. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, no! Here we go! What? Over already? Oh well. Yeah, I'm good.